Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Sunday. And happy St. Patrick's Day. I know it's not until tomorrow, but since we're not going to be together tomorrow, I just wanted to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day today. So, you can see the title of the video. We're actually going to talk about eating out, continued. So, we're going to talk about the same thing we talked about last week, just a little bit more. I thought about some tips and tricks that we've kind of gathered through the years that I just wanted to share. So, I hope that'll be helpful to you. Before I get started, I like to talk about why I'm qualified to discuss these things. So years ago, I was actually in the hospital, and then it was years after that I learned about the idea of using food as medicine. And it's just been really empowering for me to, use all the tools and everything that I've gathered and learned to really reach the goals and the things that I want to do. And though I'm not fully cured, or fully healed, and fully back to where I want to be, it's given me a lot of strength. And so I became a health coach so that I could learn more information for myself. And then I wanted to be that person that could hand resources over to anyone else who's going through, something with their health that they're just not happy with. Whether, it's overcoming a symptom or disease or just becoming the healthiest version of themselves that they possibly can be. So that's where I am. I learned just how powerful food and everything that we ingest really is, and how powerful and how beneficial it can be. And I want to share that message with as many people as I possibly can, because I think there are a lot of diseases and symptoms that we deal with that we think are just kind of normal that really don't have to exist at all. And so I want to just share this message with as many people as I possibly can. So a lot of those diseases don't have to exist at all. And and if they do, then we can overcome them. And with a healthy enough diet and lifestyle, we can overcome lots of symptoms and diseases. But if we didn't have to deal with them in the first place, I think that would be even cooler, because we're just so busy, and if we didn't have to stop doing what we're really passionate about and didn't have to deal with symptoms and diseases, then I just think that would be so much better. Along those lines, I created a course because I think a lot of people understand why changing their diet, or at least adding more plants to their routine, whatever they're ready for, is important. But I'm not sure people understand really how to do it tactically. So I created a course that walks you through how to do it. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I will send you information about it. So back to the topic for today. So eating out continued. We're going to keep talking about that from last week. So there are so many different cuisines, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And I think I really enjoy being adventurous. I don't know if that's the case for everyone, but I really enjoy being adventurous and trying different cuisines because they're just so available, And the thing is, at a lot of restaurants, the staff is extremely helpful. That's been my case anyway. That's been my experience. So, whenever we go into restaurants, my husband and I, a lot of times one of the first things we'll say is we'll tell them that we're vegan. And they usually understand exactly what we're talking about. And we'll go over a couple things with us if they have any questions or need any clarification. But they're really helpful, and we'll really show you exactly what's on the menu or what they could, tweak with what they make to make it plant-based. So I really recommend that a lot. Like, really, be adventurous and try different things, and then, just tell them and have a conversation. Unfortunately, a lot of times we can't just order things right off the menu the way it is, but just have a conversation with the server. I mean, that's what they're there for, and they really appreciate it too. They appreciate just being talked to. So I just wanted to throw out a couple of different things that we've learned along the way. So for Chinese food, things like, let's say bean curd, that's usually, essentially tofu. So don't fear that term. Along with that, Japanese food is something that a lot of vegans also like. The Japanese food has a lot of sushi, and they actually have vegan sushi. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but I think it's very good. A lot of people like Japanese food also because they use very little oil. So whereas Chinese food tends to be a little greasier, and you can ask them to use less oil, but Japanese food rarely uses oil at all. If they do, it's like just a little bit here and there. Indian food is usually, at our Indian restaurants, it's clearly marked on the menu what is vegan, and just like with all of the things I'm talking about, all the different cuisines, I would just look at the vegetable dishes is usually the best way to go. And then you can tweak things from there. Similar thing with Thai food. It's mostly vegan until you add a meat to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, and with Thai food, Indian food, any of those things, they can be spicy, and so some people might not like that. I personally like some spice, but if you don't, if you're somebody that doesn't, you can tell them very little spice or no spice at all, and just to make it very mild. So they customize those things all the time for everyone. So that's just something to keep in mind also. Another thing is Mexican food. So we always tell them, obviously, no dairy. So that's the cheese, the sour cream. Then they'll usually substitute guacamole if you're interested in using that. So things like you can get a lot of places, they'll have veggie tacos, veggie burritos, even chimichangas. That's usually a staple on a lot of menus. So that's something you can have. As far as pizza restaurants, I would just get it without cheese, and most crusts are vegan, most everything is vegan. They usually don't put things in other things, especially if they make it themselves. There's usually nothing that's an animal product in any of their stuff besides the actual cheese. American is the most, what I found anyway, is the most difficult to make vegan. I mean, to be honest, it's just not healthy at all to begin with. Things like burgers and fries, I would have them if you want to have them, like maybe sparingly or as a treat, but don't go in thinking that you're going to really get anything that's beneficial and plant heavy, because remember, that's the goal, is to have as many plants as you can. And so it's kind of not going to happen with with the American kind of style of food. But remember, with any of these things, you can use the Happy Cow app we talked about last week. And it's really helpful to find new restaurants, whether you're, going on a trip or traveling and going to a different town or even your own town. And there might be places that you've never even heard of that you didn't even realize were right down the street from you. So it's a very cool resource. And, like I already mentioned, the idea is to just add more plants, just like if you were preparing them at home. Just try to add as many plants as you possibly can. So, and like I said last week too, remember to ask yourself, what haven't I had in a while, or what does my body need, rather than, what I feel like, because nothing really changes if you go with what you feel like. You're only going to stick with what you know. And so the results aren't going to be any different. You're just going to stick with exactly what you know and what you've been eating. So those are just some tips for eating out. So I hope that's been helpful for you. So as usual, I'm on all different social platforms. I will link our Benefits of Eating Plants Facebook page, our Facebook group. I definitely recommend you join that. You can, I will put the link down below in the comments, and you can just click on that and ask to join. I definitely recommend you do that. We share all kinds of information on that. And you can feel free to ask questions and all kinds of things on that too. So I will also put my link to my YouTube channel, because after I do these lives on Sunday, I post them on my YouTube channel on Wednesday. So, and there's tons of information. I think I've been doing these lives for about 2.5 years. So there's a lot of information that's all completely free that you can feel free to check out. So hopefully, if there's anything that you want to hear, I always talk about whether you're watching this live or on replay. If there's anything that you think I may have missed, any experiences you have, please share them down below. If there's anything that you want me to cover in a future video, please let me know that as well. Whether if you want to leave a message or message me privately, you can do either one of those. So I think that's about it. Yeah, so enjoy tomorrow. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. And until next week, have a beautiful and colorful day. Bye, everybody.